of el Salon, the Chronicles. Oye, ladies of el Salon, the Chronicles. Escucha, ladies of el Salon.
Dimelo Linda. And we're back, guys, for another episode. Hi, Zuli. How are you?
Is that how we're going to open up today? Straight with me?
No, we're just going to be in love. Guys, I'm Liz.
I'm Mari.
I'm Suli, even though someone already introduced me, put me on the spot.
How is everybody today?
We're good. I'm good.
We're good. Oh, wow, that didn't sound like you were good.
Listen, I freaking walked for 3.5 miles yesterday. It was not a straight walk. It was up and down hills. My legs are killing me.
But that's nice. And the day was beautiful. That's great exercise.
Yeah. I went to the gym. I went to the gym and did some free weights and some squats. And I feel like a noodle. I just feel like a noodle.
So I feel that for some reason this time around we're all really committed because we're all working out like on a daily basis. You know what? I didn't go to the gym yesterday, but I have stairs because I have a basement in my house, and I did push-ups on the stairs, and that felt really, really good.
Is that all you did?
But
you make it sound like it.
I'm just
no doggy biscuit for Liz.
But, damn, I'm like, coño.
No, I'm just
wow, Liz, that's good. Hello.
Well, that's great. What else did you do?
So
Zuli is so unimpressed.
Yeah, she is. She's a tough cookie. She's tough. But the thing is that I did it more than once, Zuli, because I was doing laundry. So every time I went downstairs, I stopped and I did 10, came upstairs, stopped and did 10 crunches. So I did that because I didn't go to the gym yesterday, if that's okay with you.
No, that's excellent.
And I had a salad and a lot of water.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Awesome.
That's
good.
Really
so, despite Zuli, I still have renewed faith in society today. So I have a story for you. I know it's hard right now, but my friend that you guys met at my birthday dinner, she was out with her 2 boys, and very long story short, she lost her wallet with everything that our wallets have. And so she was carrying a wristlet and she lost it. She doesn't know where. And you know that when you're shopping with your kids or whatever, your mind just goes bananas, whatever. So now she's stressing because now she has to cancel everything. And, you know, her license, her information is out there. And I was like, well, your information's out there anyway because you exist, right? And yesterday, somebody emailed her and said, I'm emailing you. I don't know how they got the email because I didn't get that far with her. I know you must be going through a lot of stress and anxiety. I have your wallet. And he asked to meet her somewhere.
Oh, wow.
Return the wallet, its contents in its entirety, nothing touched and nothing moved.
Wow.
That's what I've done that.
Yeah. That's nice.
Yeah. I was like, wow. I mean, that happened to me once. I left my wallet at a gas station and I went back and it was there. Somebody turned it in. But you don't really think that that's going to happen. And it shows that, I guess, society isn't all shit.
And again, Zuli's unimpressed.
And that's what makes you think that society is fucking good?
Listen,
the returning of a goddamn wallet?
But listen, I'm
happy that she
The Palestinians and the Israelis are killing each other, but
no, and that's what I'm saying. But because what I'm saying is so much negative stuff is happening that even the littlest thing.
I was parking and my neighbor's garbage can was in the way, but I didn't bump it. I got out of the car and I moved it. Fucking restore goddamn humanity because I did that. I mean, I get it, Liz. But would not be.
You know what? When was the last? If you guys lost your wallet, would you think you're gonna get it back?
No.
That somebody's gonna email? So,
absolutely not.
You know, let's listen. With everything
I
that's
get
happening, I'm not saying whatever.
I get it.
There are some good people out there. I fuck you bitches. Yeah.
No. I get it. I get it, and it's good. I've actually found wallets, and I've actually found a passport, and I've returned, and the passport never was returned. The person didn't care, even though I reached out to them. And the wallet, the girl was very, she was very thankful. She was just like, oh, thank you so much, whatever.
So I just have a message for the man who did send the email, and thank you so very much.
Yes,
not
thank
because
you.
she's one of my best friends or anything like that, but just because of you doing
No,
that.
that was
it
nice.
says a lot, and you'll get it in trifold. And for people who do that,
No, that was
you're amazing.
No, that was nice, and I hope that there's some balance restored in the world because the wallet was returned.
So if we were in China, would his social score go up?
Pretty much.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, it would.
That's right.
It would.
Yes.
Because the cameras
about
would
that.
be watching, and it'd be like, "Troop." It would go up like credit. I keep checking my credit every
I
time it
think
goes
that's
up
so
1 point
interesting.
or 2 points. I'm like,
I know.
I
So,
don't,
yeah,
I don't
that's all I
understand the
have.
whole credit situation thing. So my credit actually went down 13 points because, yeah, I know,
How?
because they said that I need more credit. How many more fucking credit cards do I need?
Let me tell you something. The way they do this shit, whether if you pay it early, if you pay it on
And
time.
no, I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why, because they keep increasing my credit. So now, because I guess they want me to spend more.
Yeah.
So you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, So I'm like, you know what? No, I'm not going to get another credit card, and I'm not going to spend more. This is where I'm going to live. So I got, I think 3 back already, 3, for paying on time and all that. But I'm like, the fuck?
I think that's so fucked up. That's fucked up.
It is. It is.
And I know how many
It's
credit
a-
They
cards-
want you.
it's
They
a
want you to
setup.
fuck up. It is a
It's a
setup. They
setup.
want you to
It's a
fuck up. I'm not gonna fall into it.
Yeah.
well,
it's
como
not gonna
estamos hablando de
happen.
todo como lo loco, before we get into our topics, I want to real quick talk about, did any of you invest in Dogecoin?
No.
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 Did you guys watch Elon Musk on SNL?
SNL? No.
SNL? No?
I did
Okay.
not. No.
All right. Well,
But,
I will hire you when I become a millionaire.
Okay.
You
Because I
invested in
did.
Dogecoin? Okay.
I did. I feel like I missed the bus every other time when people told me to invest. I was told about Bitcoin back in 2011 or 2013, something like that, and I was like, "What the fuck is that?" And then Tesla also. When Elon Musk parted with PayPal and he started Tesla, I heard so much about it and I did nothing about it. So this time, hey, maybe this is, whatever. I mean, I invested money that I could lose, so I'm okay with it, whichever direction it goes.
Okay.
I opened an account with E-Trade, and I have not invested in anything yet.
That's
I don't
work.
know.
Let me tell you something. That's a lot of
Yeah.
work. When you have that, you have to consistently watch the markets move and maneuver and do
Yeah.
whatever. And I'm just not confident in my abilities with that or my knowledge.
Neither am
so
I.
wouldn't-
Neither am I.
wouldn't do it.
But I'm holding it to. I bought it to hold it.
Okay.
Because I do feel that just like everything else, freaking newspapers are obsolete, magazines are obsolete
Yeah.
because the internet and the blogs and whatever, regular programming TV, like we used to have to buy cable, now
Right.
it's streaming services and you get to pick and choose. Radio has been replaced by people like us podcasting. So I feel like everything is evolving, and I think that they're going to decentralize the treasury. I think that the way that our finances are today, because and this is a whole other conversation, but that is like owned by people. That's not the government that owns it. So every dollar that's printed, we already go into debt because that is owed to the people that own the treasury. So, and these are the
Right.
very powerful people that dictate our economy and, and decide how much will be printed and inflation and all of these things that are so like complicated since like the barter system that I think it only makes sense for currency to change as well. I mean, it changed from the fact that, we always used to have to walk around with money, where now people don't walk around with money anymore. Before you had to swipe a card, now you just tap a card, you see it evolving. So I think that, perhaps that's the direction, cryptocurrency is the direction that we're going in our economy. But
Yeah.
that's just me.
You really don't need.
I think you're right.
I actually, not too long ago, was down the block and I saw a jacket that I wanted, but I wasn't prepared to go shopping. I went to do something and I was like, fuck, all I had was my phone. It was actually Athleta. And I walked in and the girl was like, I was like, well, I guess I'll come back with my wallet. And she was just, I keep forgetting that I have Apple Pay. And she was like, well, do you have Apple Pay? And I'm like, of course I do. I'm like, you don't even need to have your card on you. It's already on, and I just tapped my phone and paid for the thing.
I don't walk around with my card anymore. Let me tell you something. I take the train now to go to work, and I buy my ticket for Jersey Transit online. So you just activate your ticket and it shows a little scan. And then at the subway, where I have to take the E train, my Apple Pay, I don't even buy a Metro card anymore. I just do boop and it opens the gate and I walk.
That's how long I've been on the train. I didn't even know you could do that. Okay.
Yep. You don't need a Metro card anymore.
You don't.
No. So yeah. So we'll see. I invested, and if I do become wealthy, I will share the wealth with you, peasants.
Thank you.
Thank you. Tan bella.
She had to add the peasants at the end.
Exactly. So let's get right into it. What you got for us today, Mari? On the asshole circuit.
You mean my asshole, or am I the asshole segment?
Well, I think we talked enough about assholes a couple of episodes ago.
How is your asshole doing?
It's great. It's marvelous. It's doing wonderfully.
Any worms coming out of it or anything like that?
Hell the fuck no. Now I'm showering 20 times. If I used to shower too much before, now it's gotten to the point where that shit is raw from scrubbing.
I still can't believe that. I'm just disgusted.
You know how many people told me that they were like, fucking Zuli. Now I'm paranoid.
She ruined it for everybody. Everybody's like wow.
You got a little itch and you running to the bathroom. You're like, espérate.
And if you guys don't know what we're talking about, go a few episodes back. It's called The Asshole. You'll learn a lot. Anyways, okay, so my Am I the Asshole today comes from a 29-year-old gentleman. And his question is, am I the asshole for telling my girlfriend that being depressed is not an excuse for being lazy? I have always supported my girlfriend, who's 23. He's 29. We have been together for 4 years now and lived together for 1. She has always had anxiety as well as depression, where some months are worse than others. I have supported her through all of this and understand it is very hard for her. In January, she lost her job due to the current world circumstances. By March, she hit a low point with not eating as much, crying, irritability, typical traits of depression. I have comforted her as much as possible and taken care of everything. However, at the beginning of June, I was allowed back to work, and since the house has fallen to shambles. I'm too tired by the time I come home to do anything, even cook. Most nights we order takeout, and on the rare occasion, she makes food. The floors aren't being washed, hoovering isn't being done, laundry is a mountain, and dishes are everywhere. I tried to keep on top of it, but with work, it's almost impossible. She's home all day. She lies in bed till late afternoon, watches Netflix, eats bowls of cereal, and naps. That's about it. I've tried to gently coax her to do more, and she says she will get to it, but never does. I finally snapped, told her I was sick of her doing nothing all day and leaving the housework to me. That if she is here and I'm working, she needs to be pulling her weight. She got upset and said that she wants to, but she can never find the motivation. That she's tired all the time. I said I understood she was depressed, but it isn't an excuse to do nothing and be lazy. No one likes housework, but I won't take any more excuses about it. She needs to start doing it or leave. Next day I come home to a clean house and a note from her saying she was sorry and is going to stay with her mother. Her mom helped her clean before they left. I tried calling, but she won't pick up. When I rang the house, her mother answered and had a lot to say. She was furious, telling me about how she is struggling and I am making her worse. that I should be supporting her, not ignoring that she's in a bad place and so on. I was told that my girlfriend had been crying all day in her bedroom, and I feel awful. I never wanted to hurt her. I just snapped. I tried to get her mother to give my girlfriend the phone, but she wouldn't speak to me. It feels like a lose-lose situation. On one hand, I know depression results in lack of motivation and cleanliness. And on the other, I can't stand to see our home in such chaos. I've never had depression, so I can't say for sure how bad it truly is. That's why I find it more difficult to 100% empathize. Am I the asshole for telling her depression isn't an excuse? Extra info. She has a therapist and talks regularly with them. Her depression is worse since losing her job. Usually she is quite clean and tidy. We don't usually have this issue. And she is looking for a job despite this depression, etc. I have enough money to support us both in the meantime. What are your thoughts? Liz, unmute yourself.
Okay, so don't jump down my throat, que ya vino. She's coming for me.
What? All I said was we can't hear you.
No, I muted myself just to make sure, but I'm going to defer to you guys right now because I definitely have a thought about this. But I'll let you go first.
Why?
Oh, okay. So, you're muted, Marina. So, my position is 100% from the clinical standpoint. I wouldn't classify him necessarily as an asshole, just someone who's uneducated about the depths of depression. And his response, unfortunately, is a very common response from people who really don't understand the illness. My recommendation would be for people who are in these situations to educate themselves, because depression in its deepest forms can be immobilizing. And it's very hard for someone from the outside to look in and say, oh, but you got to get up and do something. You literally cannot physically move. And it takes, and I think that he knows it because he said this is not who she normally is. It got worse since she lost her job. So something has to happen differently in her therapeutic process, whether she's the engaged in anything related to, psychopharmacology, whatever she's doing, they need to step it up a notch to get her back to that place where she's able to function. I think that instead of her mother vilifying him, she should bring him in and educate him. And then he also has a choice, whether it's a guy or girl, but in this case it's a guy. They have a choice. You don't have to live with this situation. It is very difficult, and you're not an asshole for choosing to live differently. But I think that you need to be educated on what exactly it means so that you can be more empathic. And if in the interim, you're able to get a cleaning person or, because the therapeutic process is not just for her, it has to be for him as well, to really help him learn how to navigate this place where she's at right now and put some things in place to get them through this rough spot. So, I think there just has to be a lot more education and empathy on both ends.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I do, however, think that oftentimes people go straight to, I'm depressed, when they're just having a bad day or when they're sad or whatever. Depression is crippling, and the way that he describes it sounds like that, she's in a deep depression. But I also personally know someone that uses depression to do nothing. And I mean, I'm not going to dispute the fact that, you know, depression exists and that it is crippling and that it does limit some people. But I know someone specifically that chooses to do nothing, does nothing about the depression, isn't working on it either, and then gets upset when people aren't empathetic.
Well, I think that, you know, so we want to be very careful. We don't want to negate the mood disorder. We want to make sure that, because there are a lot of people, I think, that may take advantage of a situation. And so I'm going off the premise, based on what he said, that she wasn't like this before and that it just got worse because she lost her job and all of that. So we're basing our, you know, this conversation on the premise that somebody is clinically depressed and they are in that place where it's crippling and immobilizing and all of that. And I think it's, you know, there are some people who take advantage. I think I know somebody, and not, you know, and I look at it from a clinical standpoint. I'm like, okay, right. Let's go to here. Let's do this. And you, some part of you also makes a choice, like you're saying, Mari, not to get better. So yes, it's crippling. And yes, there are times where you can't. When you have supports around you that can help you do that, and either you want to benefit financially or emotionally, then there's, you know, you fall into that, you know, personality disorder situation because you want to be the victim. And there's just a whole array of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. You understand, like, some people are just so comfortable with being sad and with being that they don't want to not be sad, because that's, like I said, like the unknown. It's, you know, people fear the unknown, and happiness, you know, and it's like, and they don't say it in so many words, but it's just like, I've noticed the behavior, and then they do nothing about it but claim to be depressed and claim to be sad and claim that they can't move forward because of this. But then what the fuck? Then, you know, do something. If you can admit that you are depressed, then you should be able to know or be able to seek help to assist you with that, unless you're just saying that because that's just your scapegoat. I'm sorry, but, you know, and I don't mean to, I do know people that are very depressed, and I do recognize the difference. It's just sometimes I think it's hard to distinguish if you don't know the person very well and they're just telling you they're depressed.
Yeah. I'm going to say that I'm probably going to come off as being not empathetic to it. And it's, I don't understand depression. I think we all at one point in our lives, depression is very easy to fall into. And I think at one point in our lives, we've all have come to a moment where we don't want to get out of bed, when we don't want to shower, when we don't want to see people, when we've all been there. But I think at one point or another, we say the only person that's affecting is me. And if I don't get up and do what I have to do, then nothing is going to be done. So that's why I don't understand it, because at what point do you say to yourself, I have to get things done? Like, how do you just sit there and not do anything? And that's the part that I don't understand. And that's why I can't, like, I probably sound like an asshole. Well, you know, it's deeper than that. And yes, it is. But I've had situations where something hasn't worked out for me and I'm like, fuck, I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't want to leave. I don't want to shower. I just want to stay in bed. And it'll happen. And I'll stay in bed or in my room for 3 days. But then I say to myself, you know what? If I don't make it happen, if I don't fucking shake this shit off, if I don't go and take at least a shower, then nothing is going to get done. So I don't know, like, how do you not want to shake it off and move on? And I mean, maybe Liz, you can tell me, but I just don't understand. I don't understand. I really don't. Especially when you have kids. How do you not, you know, want to better that?
And it's okay that you say that you don't understand. That's 100% great. And that's the difference between being clinically depressed and having a bad day, right? No. So at your core, at your foundation, the people who can say, all right, I'm going to shake this off. I'm going to get up and move. Right?
Right.
The three of us have had experiences where whether it's medically, emotionally, whatever it is, we've been there. And I've gotten calls that I haven't heard from you, bitch, in 3 days. What the fuck? I just want to be left alone. Right?
Right.
So I'm going through some shit. I'm sad. Okay. I want to have a pity party. And I just, leave me alone. Let me go through it. Mm-hmm. When it extends, but then because we're strong at the core, we're able to get up and say, okay, I got to shake this off. I can't. I got to clean my house. I got to do it. I got to shake it. I got whatever. When you're clinically depressed, and understand that depression is just one of the categories in the umbrella of under mood disorders. And the mood disorders are many. There's cyclothymia, there's major depressive disorder, there's dysthymia, there's the bipolar disorder. So there are many different categories. Right. I don't know what category she falls into, right? But there are many different categories. And in the severest of depressions, right, you're unable to say, this bothers me. The stench of your own body doesn't bother you.
Wow. When
you're in that place. And so the chemicals in your brain, the part of your brain that's telling you, they're supposed to be operating. So you understand that your brain is divided into 4 parts, and each part is responsible for a particular function. And the part of your brain, and this is obviously super simple and whatever, but the part of your brain that's responsible for telling you these things is not working. So imagine if the part of your brain that was responsible for you moving your right arm or for you feeling pain wasn't working.
Yeah.
You can't feel that, and so you can't move it. And that's the difference between you and me, or somebody who says, today I'm just going to lay under the covers, I'm not going to take a shower for 3 days, and then I'm going to go shower. Right. And somebody whose that part of the brain is not functioning to tell them that. And then, of course, you have to look at the history, how long this has been going on, what the dynamics are. Like, you have to, but in its simplest forms, that's what's happening. That part of the brain is no longer functioning, or not functioning at that moment.
Right.
When the fuck are you going to branch off and have your own show? You need a show just about this shit. Breaking it down, because that made a lot of sense right now.
Did
so
it? I hope so, because I try to speak people make fun of me all the time because I speak in 5
You try
syllables.
to dumb it down for us?
No, I try to simplify situations because it's important for the regular. If I speak in all these clinical terms, you don't understand me. What have I gained? I've gained nothing. My job is to help you understand and just bring it down to its most elemental forms, to a relatable situation. Something really simple. And, ironically, the other day I was having a conversation with Zoo about postpartum depression and how, nobody talks to a woman. It's about well baby care, the visits, is the baby eating? Are you, but nobody says, how are you doing? Not prenatal or postnatal. And I've been so busy these last couple of months. I don't even, I leave one thing and I'm till 9-10 o'clock at night. I have seen patients at 7:45 in the morning because it's just so much.
Right.
But back to this guy, he should just become really educated, and that way he'll be able to support her. And then he also needs supports, because it's
I don't
hard.
think he's I don't think he's an asshole. I think he kind of falls in the same category as me, where it's like, you don't understand. I understand that you can go through something, and I understand that depression exists, but I don't understand how you can let it go so far without, so that's something that I need to educate myself on, because I think you are your most important person. And they say, like, when you're in an airplane, you got to give yourself oxygen before you can give it to someone else. So when do you become that person that you need to take care of yourself and do first for you and move past whatever it is you're going through? That's the one thing I have to understand.
And so here's the other thing, with her mother, I'd like to see how she thinks that she's helping her, because there's also the other piece about enabling.
Yeah.
Right?
Enabling, yeah.
And so is she enabling? And now this guy's, you're on the attack, because you don't wake up one day and say, oh, today I'm going to be depressed, and that's it, right? So trauma is the light switch. I explain it to people that if something's laying dormant, right? Any kind of trauma, and when people talk about trauma, you don't have to think about rape or murder or anything. It could be the simplest thing, okay?
Right.
And that'll wake up whatever's laying there dormant. So you can't just deal with the situation that's happening now. You have to go back to where this all started.
Well, we all went collectively through like a pandemic, which was is traumatic to a lot of people and crippling to a lot of people.
Correct.
So I get what you're saying.
Really quick, I just before we move on to our next segment, I actually watched a Netflix movie last night called Woman in the Window. I hope I'm saying
Me too.
I haven't seen it.
And she had a severe trauma, so I'm not gonna ruin it for you, so you could watch it because it does drag a little bit, but if you look at it for what it is, it was very interesting, and she had a severe trauma, and from this trauma she had, what is it called, agoraphobia. But she disassociated.
Oh my God, Zoo, I can't believe you. I watched it last night too.
Yes.
Is it disassociate?
Well, it ended
or
up watching
dissociate?
me.
Is it disassociate or dissociate? Because I was having this dispute with my daughter. I just want to see if I'm right.
I thought it was disassociate.
But
don't listen to me. I always get it wrong.
It's dissociative disorder, but you can disassociate yourself.
So they're both right. Okay.
Right, you disassociate is not the clinical part. You can disassociate, right? But you can have a dissociative disorder.
Okay.
But
so it depends on how you're using it. Okay.
Yeah. Right. In this particular case, so you know that in trauma, it's like your psyche breaks apart, and all this trauma is happening, and so that happened to her. But but she had.
No, I'm not gonna ruin it for you, but it's very
in
interesting.
Severe forms. Yeah.
Like the people that have, what is it? Agoraphobia. They think that if they leave their house, some people, even if they leave their bedroom, they're gonna die. And I'm like, wow, that's insane. That's crazy. But you should watch it. It was very interesting.
Okay,
I will.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, someone like you, Liz, you would love it because it helps you physically see that little world that person is going.
Well, I saw it yesterday. I was intrigued. I was there. I was glued. I watched it.
Yeah. But anyways, we're gonna move on to our next segment.
Yes,
we
are.
Yes. Vamos a lavar la ropa.
We're going to talk about the wash. I know. We haven't done the wash in a while. So, guys, the wash where I fluff and fold or air out your dirty laundry. And, I'm going to talk about 3 things today. I'm not going to, talk too much. But I want to start.
Are we fluffing and folding, or are we airing the dirty laundry?
So we are we're airing a little bit of dirty laundry. But, as you guys all know, I've talked about it. I'm going to start with J-Lo. So J-Lo was like, fuck you, A-Rod. You're not going to do me wrong. I'm a woman that stands on her own 2 feet. And I know some people look at her and they're like, she's a hoe. She jumps from relationship to relationship. And I see it totally different. I see it as in she's a woman in her own right. And she knows what she wants. And she said it. She doesn't like men who lies to her. And he lied to her. And she was like, fuck you. And she moved on to the next man who happens to be Ben Affleck. So we loved her when she was with Ben Affleck. I think and I think that was the one that got away. She was really heartbroken from that relationship. So I'm kind of glad. I think he has a lot to work on. So I don't know how this is going to work out, but I'm a little happy that she's with him. So we're back to Bennifer, back to 2002 Bennifer.
But is it real? Is it real?
It is. Well, they've been staying together. They, and she was back home with him or wherever, I think where his mom lives or wherever the case may be. I think Montana or wherever it is.
You know my theory on him.
What is the theory on him?
Oh, that he has a small dick?
Yeah, I believe he has a small penis.
Maybe it tickles her the right way though.
Well, yeah, I know that it's not the size of
or
the
maybe
boat and the motion of the ocean.
Maybe he doesn't. Maybe that's just his brother.
Pero con todo ese culantro que ella tiene, it's just, come on, because
Would you leave a guy that you really loved because he had a small penis?
Yeah. If it didn't do the right thing, yes, I think I would. I think
I think he doesn't because she is really into him. She really likes him. I mean, so much so that she's may consider being in a relationship with him. So I thought that was awesome. So, you know,
Jenny from the Block is back.
She's back. And you saw that she put up her video that was her favorite album, and she put him like rubbing her butt. I was like, ooh,
she dedicated a song to him.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, she's literally telling A-Rod, fuck you. So he must have done her really dirty. That she's like,
I'm not up on the achievement.
And there's some videos of A-Rod pretending to be happy, and everybody's
like, not care.
Oh, he's so hurt.
He's so hurt. He's gonna go cry. Yeah, he is.
He's punching the air right now.
I've never cared for A-Rod to
Neither
begin with. When they were together, I was like, all right, it may work. You know, I don't know. Maybe they do it for each other. But I think he has too much of an ego. And she fucking just destroyed that shit. She was like, fuck you, off to the next. So I'm very happy.
I've never really liked him, and I've never really found him attractive. And honestly,
no, I don't think so either. Yeah.
You know, I don't agree with this at all, but people say that Randy looks like either A-Rod or Derek Jeter. He always, well, maybe not anymore, but he used to. He used to get that. And I don't find either one of them attractive. I always say, no, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. But, you know,
yeah.
whatever.
Well, some people find Jay-Z attractive, and I'm like, no.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Beyonce does.
Yeah.
Beyonce does. Well, his bank account is kind of cute.
I think that maybe the business part of him, the businessman, kind of may turn you on a little bit, maybe to see him in action. But him himself, he's not an attractive man. I don't think. A-Rod, Jeter, I don't know. I be liking Jeter a little bit.
You like your waffle color guys?
Sometimes I do. I do. Sometimes I do. I find myself getting attracted to a lot of waffle color guys. But no, I'm going to talk about another relationship that Mari was so funny. Mari was like, so y'all bitches ain't going to talk about this guy? I mean, he just divorced his wife, and it's Bill Gates. And I was like, I'm really not interested in him. I don't know why. He just doesn't really do it for me, Bill Gates. Whatever. Wasn't interested, but I am interested in finding out some new information as to why she may have, and I don't really know his wife's name. Melinda Gates. Melinda. So I'm interested now to find out that she may be divorcing him because she found out that he was hanging out with fucking Epstein. And he was hanging out. Yes, and he was hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein not only during when he was doing his dirt, but even after he was arrested for being a fucking pedophile and being all sorts of, you know, predator that he was still meeting with him in jail and having meetings with him. And his publicist came out and said, oh, you know, it was poor judgment on his behalf. Yeah, fuck that. That wasn't poor judgment on his behalf. He's a very smart man. He's Bill Gates, for heaven's sake. He doesn't do poor judgment. All his judgments are based on very strategic things. So I don't believe that for 1 second. And I think she may know more than what she leads to believe. And she's like, yeah, I'm not fucking with you because you're next on that list, or they're going to investigate you. And she wants no fucking ties with that. So I found that to be very interesting. And I can't wait to see what's going to happen with Mr. Bill Gates.
I hadn't heard that one. He was probably going to jail to secure, probably making sure that
paying him off or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me, you know, on that note, did you guys hear what Cuomo said this past week? Our governor, Mario Cuomo. Well, my governor, not your governor. He was being interviewed about all the alleged sexual misconduct or whatever. And, you know, I'm always for let's find the truth and you're innocent to proven guilty and let's figure out what's going on, whatever. But he said, if you're feeling harassed, that's your problem, not mine.
Oh,
really?
Yeah. I had to do a double take. I had to do a double take. I was like, I'm sorry, what did he just say? I was watching the news. It was Thursday or Friday. It was all over the news.
His PR guy must have been like, motherfucker, shut the fuck up. Somebody turn off his mic.
Because how the fuck do you say that? How not? Wow, if I'm making you feel this way, what do I need to do differently? Because I don't want to make you feel... No, that's your problem? Are you fucking kidding me?
Wow.
I have a problem. Yeah.
That's a problem for me. Yeah, that's a problem for me. He's behaving like every man who does that doesn't think that it's a fucking problem. and it's a fucking problem. But anyway, so now we're off to the next one, and the next one is very interesting, and it's been it's been in social media. People have been talking about it on the radio, Hot 97. Everyone has something to say about this, and it's the Joe Budden podcast, and how now it's no longer, he fired Rory and Mal. Mal. You know me and my A's. I can never get them straight. I always say Mal, May, I don't know. So, yeah, so he fired them. And so now, he was recording saying a lot of things that, it was his pot. I don't know. I don't care for Joe Budden for many reasons. One, because he's a woman beater. So you're right there. I don't fuck with you. But I think he comes off as very rude and nasty, and he's just narcissistic. But that's his character. People love it. It sells, and they should have known better, because it's not like a particular podcast. It's the Joe Budden podcast. So you guys were never. He never really gave a fuck about you guys. But Mari, you know more about it than I do. So.
No, I know. I've been following this just because it's big news in the podcast world, the Joe Budden podcast is it's one of the top ones. He's up there competing with Joe Rogan. Yeah. So, and then he's putting other people on, he's got now Mandy, and her show is called The Thing About It. And, he's putting other people on. So he this podcast they started, amongst a group of friends. And the story is particularly interesting to me because it's I guess that's how all podcasts start, but that's exactly how we started also. It's just, a group of friends, they got together and they started doing this. Now, Joe on his own was a personality because he was doing YouTube with Tahiri a long time ago. So he was already kind of out there. People knew him as a rapper and whatever. But he started doing this, and there was it was actually what's his name from Hot 97?
Ebro?
Hot 97? Ebro, but no, not Rosenberg. So it was kind of like an idea that Rosenberg came up with, and there was Rory, and there was this girl Marissa also, and 10 episodes in or whatever, they cut Rosenberg out. And then out of nowhere, Marissa got fired, and she didn't even know why. So he seems to have this behavior where, and Ibra was talking about it, where he self-destructs. He is a self-sabotager. And I think it is tied into mental health issues with him. And he talks about it also. But it's just, he is so unstable that I am truly surprised that there was no, well, they talked about having contracts afterwards, when they did the Spotify deal, and but from the very beginning, they didn't have a contract stating we are equal owners, or we are the way he's talking is you guys are replaceable. Right. This is my show, and that's the sticky part of things. And that's what is making it so ugly also, because they were friends. And that's what he said. That's how he opened his show. I'm here with my friends. And they struggled. This show has been on since 2015, I think, or 2016. And finally, they get there. They've slowly been, every year, more progress. He was with Complex. He's done Vice. He's done this. He's done that. Getting to where they needed to be. And when the deal with Spotify fell through, he did what our dream is, build a network. He built the network, and the money was coming in. And when the money came in, it all fell apart.
Right.
It's just... It's crazy to me.
I mean, Rosenberg said it best. He has an issue with keeping relationships. He doesn't know how to keep relationships, and it failed him now. And his show now is probably not going to be the same, even though he seems to think that it is. And maybe it will be. I don't know, But it's sad. It's sad because now you lost friendships, and you don't really care. It's like he doesn't even care. He's just like, well, fuck it. I don't care. I made you guys. That's his attitude. If if you hear the podcast, the last one he just did.
Whose decision was it? I don't know if you guys know the answer to this, to name it the Joe Budden Show.
I would think his.
He claims that when they signed with Spotify, they told him. He's like, the suits don't care about you guys. It's me, So I don't know.
That would have been your first sign there, or your third
yes.
sign. I don't know.
But I don't know, because everybody says you have to take what he says with a grain of salt. Like he may just be embellishing or
he
whatever.
embellishes. Yeah.
And the whole thing happened because
I was just about to ask you what happened.
Well, first of all, like I listen to the show sometimes when like my son tells me to listen to it, because I can't. I find them offensive sometimes, and I feel like they bash women on that show too much, and it gets them ratings and whatever, but it sometimes just offends me, so I don't watch all the time. But apparently Rory, and if you don't know which one is Rory's the white guy. Like Rory, Joe would pick on him, and Joe would like when he would start like a topic, he'd be like, shut the fuck up. And it's like, and it's funny sometimes, to sun someone, but like to consistently sun someone all the time. And,
Right.
And Rory, I think, would just kind of, take it, whatever. But I think Rory is going through some personal stuff in his life, and he was working on himself and whatever. And I think on one episode he wanted to talk about like a cord cutting ceremony that he went to. And remember, we had discussed this with La Brujas about like letting like past trauma go and things like that. And I think he tried to talk about it, and Joe was like, "Shut the fuck up! Nobody gives a fuck about that."
Oh wow.
Yeah, he's very, very rude, very brash.
Yeah, like why would you want to, like, how can you feel happy in an environment like that, when someone just constantly exactly. And so the other issue was that the guys, I think, wanted to see the books. And I think kind of like how we are, we're all very transparent. We all have access to the accounts, and we all have everything. I guess they didn't have that. And I guess they're in a place where they're bigger than that. So they have accountants and they have professionals doing this. But if you, Liz, tell me, Mari, can I see the books, whatever? Like, I should, even if I have an account, I should be like, hey, Corey, Liz wants to take a look at this. Just let her, whatever your reasons are.
Right.
But Joe took this as, you don't need to see the books. Why do you need to see the books? Don't you trust me? What, you calling me a thief? Now you're calling me a thief and whatever. And that just kind of escalated. And Joe told Rory not to come. He says, take a few days off. Don't come to the show or whatever. And Mal, who's the other guy on the show, and Joe's friend, was like, well, who are you to tell him not to come in? Because I don't feel like, at least in our situation, none of us can be like, no, Liz, you ain't going to be on this. Or Zuli can be like, no, Mari, you can't be. Like, we're equal partners in this.
Right.
Aside from friends.
So I think that from the onset, it wasn't established correctly, because otherwise, correctly in the sense that it was established that everybody was like us, equal partners and us equal say in everything. And that may have led to him being able to make all these unilateral decisions.
Well, but he does say that because of his drive and his passion, and he claims that Rory and Mal are not as passionate about it. He's the one that got them all the deals. He's the one that, spoke to attorneys, drafted things and whatever, and was really the one. So in his eyes, he feels like we wouldn't be here if I weren't the one. So in a way, I feel like I feel like he contradicts himself a little bit, because he's like, oh, you're calling me a thief, a liar. But then you're saying, but I deserve more because I did more.
Right, but here's the other thing, the other part of it. When he presented the deal, he may have done the paperwork, but when he presented the deal, he presented it with Rory and Mal. He didn't present it as just him. So they also contributed to the success, because just because you didn't do the paperwork doesn't mean, because you're presenting a package. and this is what the package is. Otherwise, he should have just presented himself.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. It's like it's imploded, and part of, like, for instance, I was listening to it earlier this morning as I was washing my hair, and my son bangs on the bathroom door, and he's like, "What are you listening to?" And I was like, "Joe Budden." He goes, "We don't listen to that in this house anymore."
Oh,
and I was like, well, what? He goes, "We're not listening." And the thing is that some people do listen for Rory, some people listen for Mal, like, and it's the chemistry, between the three of them. Like, Joe is, he's a very colorful person, but I don't think that the show is just all him. These two guys also do bring a lot to it. And I actually like them more than I like Joe. So, because they go a lot on, Horrible Decisions and the other shows. So I get to see them also. But it actually, that whole thing made me think of us, because you remember how in the beginning it was 6 of us plus an assistant that we had.
Yeah.
And the fact that, we kind of resolved all of those issues so early on, before getting to anything, before making, we're still working. We're still like the, the little engine that could, but
we're still starving artists. What is it that they call it?
Yeah, we're still starving artists. But, the fact that we started out a larger group, and then, brought it down to, the people that actually were passionate about that, because Joe does talk about that. Joe talks about, like, and now he talks about their lack of passion and their lack of contribution and their lack of, and when that's the case and you're like doing business with your friends, then this is something that should have been addressed.
And that's what I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, that's what I was going to say, that early on, we had the conversations, we communicated, and communication is just so important. And everything was not contentious. Everybody decided to part ways. We had conversations. Hey, listen, we're moving in this direction. Are you coming with? And people made their own decisions and said, yeah, that's not where I want to be, or I can't, or whatever the situation is. And it was fine. And to this day, we still have them come back as guests, because they still are part of the nucleus and the dynamics of the show. But you're right about what you're going to say, Mari. Conversations were had, and these concerns were addressed, not 5 years later. Oh, you're not pulling your weight. Bye. See you. Bye, Felicia.
Right. Everyone played an important part, and we did have a contract as well. We do have a contract. And everyone respected the contract once they left.
So we had the non-competes also.
Yeah, we have the non-compete. So it does take a lot to have a podcast, and you should have the paperwork ready. When we first started, we were like, we need to be transparent, and in order to be transparent, we need to have it on paper so that there is no confusion when things happen. And I think we all the women that were on the show, on the podcast originally, we all had things happening in our lives, and we respected that. And the three of us just, it just worked for us. Everyone else decided that they had other things that they wanted to accomplish and they wanted to see, and, dreams that they wanted to fulfill. So it takes a lot of work, and podcasting it's not just us getting together, sitting down and recording. It takes a lot, and it gets frustrating sometimes, because one of us is always going to pull the weight more than the other. Or one is going to have more work than the other. So you do sometimes feel like, damn, I'm not pulling my weight. I'm not doing what I need to do. And somehow, you make it work. But it is tough. It is very tough. And Mari, you always come on and you say, I appreciate you guys. I really, because you understand that it does take a lot of work. It does. It takes a lot. And you can become resentful very easily.
Yeah.
You can.
No,
especially if there's money involved.
Yeah. When we broke bitches, nothing matters. But then when the money's coming in, it's like, wait a second. Wait a second. No, let me give you a small example. Like, before we started the podcast, I know you guys knew I used to vlog, and I was doing the YouTube channel, and we had the Instagram, and that shit was growing so fast. So fast. But guess what? Mixing business with loved ones, with friends, with it's difficult. It's hard because sometimes people can't compartmentalize those things, and and you can complain about something and they just take it as like, oh, she's just bitching today and whatever. So I decided to stop vlogging when we started the podcast. I tried to do the two for a little bit, but I just realized, no, I have to put my energy in this. And it was more because I was doing most of the work in that. And it was, and I was doing most of the work for a long time. And the thing was, I had more time also. I had more time available and whatever. So it made sense. And we didn't have these conversations before starting the vlog. So there wasn't we weren't like how we are now, that we've delegated, like I do this, Zuli does this, Liz does that.
Right.
That wasn't discussed before. So I did start to become resentful with my partner, because it was like, oh yeah, you love it when the comments come in and when we're interacting and when all of this, but come on, like, can you edit more? Can we, why is it that I always have to come up with, whatever? And he was working. He's just working too much. He's like, Mari, I don't really have the time for all of that, And so then I said, you know what? It's got to be one or the other. One is going to have to be saved. And I figured, you know what? I'll walk away from that one. And then when we have the time, we can resume it if the people are still there wanting to watch us. If not, then it was great. We had a great experience with it. But, that's, business with friends, with family, it can get, like, the lines get so blurred. Yeah. It can be, it can get confusing and it can be difficult. And, I'm really glad that we all get along. We, for the most part, pretend to like each other. So,
Can't wait to get off this podcast.
Only on Tuesdays.
Only on Tuesdays. No, because, it's like, Zuli and I were friends from cuando éramos chamaquita, and Liz and I have developed our own friendship, because now I feel that our friendship is separate from the friendship that we have through your sister. But it was a little rocky. Right. It was a little rocky in the beginning between us.
It was a little rocky, and we all have strong personalities. I know that I have my fucking meltdown, and I appreciate I appreciate you ladies, because when I have my meltdowns, you guys just stare at me and you're like, she'll get over it. You understand that my meltdowns are very, they happen for like maybe 5 minutes, and I regroup myself, and then I come back and you're like, Are you okay, Suli? Okay, well, all right, then let's continue. And it's just, you guys understand that. So I think we understand our personalities very well as well. And I have to say me, because I blow up all the time. My patience.
I want to go back to the meltdown you had when you couldn't get the thing off.
The tripod.
You know what? I
wish we would have recorded that one.
You guys need to see the behind.
She chewed my head off. Like, this is not a counseling session. Oh wait, I was just trying to help you. I was like, no, because I have the patience of a gnat, and for me, if shit isn't working the way that it's supposed to, I don't understand that, and I want to fucking just rip heads off, and I just and it just pisses me off, and I had purposely prepared everything the night before just because I didn't want to have any issues, because you have issues. You always have issues when you're recording. And the one thing that I left open did not want there was one leg that did not want, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And the time, and we were like, we're going to start early. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm not going to be there on time because this shit doesn't want to work. The tripod just did not want to work. And I called you ladies, and I was like, I went into, I don't know if you guys remember the cartoon Yosemite Sam from Bugs Bunny. Yes.
Yeah, he had like Tourette syndrome, and he motherfucker, and I was just like going off. And then my son, who has the patience of a god, comes in, and he's like, what's happening? He's like, I'm losing my shit. And he's all calm, like, what's happening? And I'm like, this shit. And he grabs it and he pulls it open, and I'm like, oh. Okay. And then and everything was just over and done with. But
and
before
Mari
that,
Mari and I were like, oh.
Liz was like, well, you were like, well, why don't I was like, and not everything is a therapy session. And you were like, okay. And I was like, so, you know, I know I have my
troubleshoot, but that's okay.
I know I have my outbursts. You know, Liz has 5,000 jobs and she can't always make it, and she's not always on time, and we cancel things, and you know, and all this happens. Reschedule. Mari, I think you're the only fucking probably normal one. Maybe it's a family thing. Maybe it's a Gonzalez thing.
I'm waiting for my little roast. I was like, okay, well, what's
I don't know. I don't really know what your roast.
I bombard you with text messages.
No. I have Mari. Mari.
She's excited.
When Mari gets an idea, no, because I just remember when Mari gets an idea, Mari will throw it to you. Mari will be like, oh my God, we got to do this. I'm got to do that. I'm got to do this. And Mari's like, I booked this for this. I booked this for that. And we're like, wait, what? What happened? Oh my God. And you're like, Mari, wait. And Mari's like, no, we're doing it tomorrow. And she's like, we're doing it. And we're booked and we're ready to go. Mari, when she has an idea, she fucking sprints with it.
Well, it happened this morning. I was like, oh, that's what we're doing?
Yeah.
I didn't know that I missed something because I'm always missing shit. So I'm like, okay.
I feel like at the end of the day, when we regroup, we look at it as it's a business thing and it's going to work for the business itself. And we respect that.
Well,
aside from everything else.
Beyond that, Mari, you said something very important, you know, about when you were vlogging. It's about time, right? And quite frankly, you chose your relationship over the vlog, which I don't think was a great decision because it could tear your relationship apart. But, you know, it came to a point where, Mari, you were working still from home. And not to devalue the work from home, but you had more time. So we acknowledged that about each other, right? And so if I can't do the video, whatever, I'll drive from here to Timbuktu to pick up or drop off whatever. I don't care. Or do whatever. And so it's about acknowledging that it's not that somebody cares more than the other person or somebody's more invested than the other person. It's just that, unfortunately, our personal lives have to be taken into account. And everybody has something different in their personal lives. And even that, we try to put something else in. Gym, working out together at each other's house.
No, absolutely. So. But I mean, somehow you have to look at it as in the business comes first. And if you really care about the business and the work that we've put in too much to just walk away from it. I hope that when we do start making money, we have an assistant, we have someone that's running our page, because it would be a shame for us to decide that we're not going to do it anymore right when we get to the point where we start making money. But we would, and that's why I don't know if you guys remember, we put a little thing out that we were looking for interns, and it's still available if you guys want it. Because it's a lot of work and we all have full-time jobs, and it's hard to sometimes, you know, like I do the media part of it, but sometimes I'm at work and I cannot be on doing the media or posting things because I just can't. You know, my bosses will look at me like what the fuck you're doing? The days that you guys see me post is because I have the time to sit and do it, or when I'm having like a creative, like I'm the type of I'm a weird creative. I have to feel it. I think all creators are like that. And then I start, you know, to post and do things and do whatever. But sometimes I'm not feeling it. And I'm like, the world is so dark right now that sometimes I don't want to post about heavy things or things that are, you know, happening right now. So it's podcasting, social media. I give it to those that get to that point quickly because it's a lot of fucking work. It's a lot.
Well, you know, I have to say that I think that the biggest part of it is chemistry, and I think we have that. So we have the chemistry and we have the work ethic to continue, because most people say that 10 is the number. Most podcasts put out 10 episodes and then they fall apart.
Really?
We're here on our 4th season, 2 years later. And we had a pandemic in between. We had a divorce in between. We had loss. We had, you know, we're still doing it. So, you know, it's sad to see, and it's a little scary to see what happened to the Joe Budden podcast, because although it's not my favorite podcast, it's still, you know, our people making it up there, you know. It's bringing a seat to the table. So you know, and for it to fall apart the way that it has, it's a shame, it's embarrassing. So you know, but I'm glad that it's us here, that it's us, it's Liz, it's Zuli, it's me. And that I can't see that ever happening, because before we had un centavo, we had everything in place, and we, you know, and you know, we've just, I feel like we've done that part right. And, you know, from here, I think we can only grow, because just like, you know, listening to their story, they were doing that since 2015. Now they were seeing millions. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's just a matter of, you know, let's, you know, sticking with it, respecting each other, communicating effectively, and, you know, you know, never quitting this. And hopefully we will have our ESC network.
Hopefully.
That's the goal. That's the goal with Liz's own show. Because that's another thing that we've always encouraged each other to grow outside the show.
Yeah, you guys are always telling me, like, Zuli, do more with your, you know, but art is just so very personal. Like, it's like your child, you know, you want to put it out there, but if people critique it, before you even put it out there, I'm already thinking it's not good enough. No one's going to like it.
No.
It's very personal. It's very, very personal. Yeah.
But anyways, all right. Well, guys, that's all the time we have for today, but I'm glad we talked about this. I'm glad we talked about all of this, because I just, you know, I'm glad that we're all on the same page as far as this goes. And, you know, no matter how this affects the pod world, you know, the Joe Budden show is not the only one. Actually, it maybe opens space for perhaps at Salon Chronicles. Who knows?
I would like to know what people would want us to talk about more. Do you guys want more controversy? Do you like what you... And that's why we always say leave a comment. Do you like the dynamics? Do some people don't like one of us? Say
now that you say that,
let us know.
Now that you
I
say
can't
that,
stand that Suli. Her fucking voice is
now
annoying.
that you say that, I actually, because you know, last week we had Arenosa. And she gets a lot of feedback and whatever, and she usually tags us on her feedback, and you know, we'll post it, we'll share the story. So I always look at her page, and I was looking through her stories, and one of them was like, "Oh, I'm so glad, you know, I enjoyed this episode more than part 1. Part 2 is better." And then the person said, "You know, I'm glad that they allowed you the platform to talk more. La dejaste todas callada." And I was like, la dejaste toda callada. Like
so it is
actually.
So it's a podcast.
So exactly.
And the whole point is, and it's our podcast, and we have people on because we're interested in what they have to say, but we have to talk.
Yeah. So it was kind of like, wait a second. So what
do we do with this?
To say how are we supposed to have a podcast if we can't talk? So, but anyways,
we listened. We listened when you guys said, "Listen, we want to hear more of what she." And it's true, because we're opinionated women. We have a lot to fucking say. So we listened. You guys said, let her talk. We let her talk. But in no way did anyone shut us up. This is our show, and let's not forget that.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
This is really good.
I'm saying.
Well, the thing is that, you know, Sandy is our friend. So it's like, it's hard. It's almost like, you know, I guess for people that are listening from the outside, it's just like, she's a guest, and but it's like, it's seeing a friend. It's like seeing someone that it's conversation. You want to talk. You want to, you know. Yeah. So that I was kind of like, interesting. But whatever.
And
that
sometimes,
was.
And I'm sorry, but sometimes when we hear it back, we were like, damn, maybe we should have not jumped in there, or maybe. But in the moment, you get excited and you want to talk and you want to say things, and you interrupt each other, and then you realize, fuck, I didn't say this or that or whatever. Sometimes you just have to let it flow.
Yeah. So. Yeah. And since it's not scripted, it is, you know, that's really the way it goes.
But it's also a podcast. We're going to talk.
Yeah. Anyways, all right, guys. Well, that's all the time for today. Thank you so much. Sí, vamos a callarnos ya.
It'll be a mute show next time.
All right, guys. Well, you know where to find us. You know how to support us. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you next week. Love you. Bye.
Ladies of el Salon, The Chronicles. Oye, ladies of el Salon, The Chronicles. Escucha.